I guess FOMO wasn't even invented, but probably that's what I had. After almost 20 years here in Shanghai, we are sadly relocating to Istanbul in a week from now. And then I fall off, and he started to clap. He's like, "Great, you fall off, that's fantastic." But be very mindful of what's not being said. It's a lot of guanxi that is sometimes more important than the task in itself.
Last meal in China, what is it going to be? Hi, welcome. My name is Jeff.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Can you please introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us about what it is you do in China and what your plans are.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Vanessa Alcala. I'm Spanish, but born in Bolivia in South America. I've been living in around 8 countries, and China has been my home for the last 20 years. And I graduated from CEIBS as a Gamba 17. I am married with 2 kids, 13 and 10 years old. I work in H&M, the retailer. And after almost 20 years here in Shanghai, we are sadly to say that we will be relocating to Istanbul in a week from now. So it's definitely very mixed feelings because Shanghai has been my home. It's where I have grown professionally, where I've been so privileged to see how China has grown and how the world has grown with China, and also so privileged to, become a mother. So Shanghai will be always a very, very strong part of who I am.
So what year did you come to China? You were saying you were here for almost 20 years, right?
Yes. So exactly 18 years. So I'm rounding it up.
Yeah.
I came in 2007, October, right after October holiday, in 2007.
That's also the same time I came to China
Really?
as well, 2007. So we went through Expo together.
Yes.
The early times. Very exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about what was your decision to come to China?
I think it was quite early on. I was either studying Chinese or I was coming to China quite often for some buying trips. My thought was always like, if I don't come here, I will regret it, because I could feel like, early 2005, 2006, 2007, so much was happening and I didn't want to miss out. I had, I guess FOMO wasn't even invented, but probably that's what I had.
I remember that time too, at first coming to China, 2005, feeling the energy. You said you were here on buying trips, so in Shanghai, or was it Guangzhou, or what?
Yeah, both in Shanghai and in Guangzhou and also Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I was head of buyer for a textile company, a Spanish textile company. So we would have many of our vendors here.
Right.
And I could also feel that every time I would speak a little bit of Chinese, they will get happy. They will, the communication will get easier. You will get some bonding, and even maybe even a bit of lower price, which was always good. So I felt like there was always a good reason why to understand culture in Chinese better and better. I have a funny fact to share that as I'm cleaning all my things for the move, the first thing I did when I came to China was to come to CEIBS, because I already had a big reputation in Spain with Professor Nueno in 2007. So I did a course here about leadership and management for 4 days. Kind of my first interaction with China was CEIBS, but then it took almost 10 years for me to do the Global MBA.
Nice. Professor Nueno is a legend.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've only met him like maybe once or twice. I mean, he's super senior, but then I still remember, like, when I got into the school, he wrote me an email, like a proper email, welcoming me to the school. And when I graduated, I mean, I thought he'd forgotten, whatever. I mean, we never kept in touch, and I got an email from him, and he took this personal touch. What a guy. It's
yes,
amazing.
He was.
While you were in China, so almost 20 years, 18 years, and now you're about to move on. During this time, what were the things that you felt that a lot of your friends overseas or just couldn't understand or didn't get right away, that you were surprised or when you told them, like, what were the misconceptions that they had about your life here, your day-to-day life here?
It's always kind of like understood that, especially Shanghai is so big, people get this feeling that it's so chaotic, it's so hectic. But I found that it's not always the case. I mean, it's not chaotic. It's really dynamic and it's really fast paced. Your daily life, when it comes to kind of commuting, especially if you do it in public transportation, it can be very easy and it can be one of the most effective and efficient ways how to commute. So you get completely away from this notion of like chaotic to super organized and fast paced.
I always find it interesting when I travel around and now and I try public transit elsewhere. It's like not the same. It doesn't work as well.
It creates a bad expectation, right? Like it almost nothing can beat it.
Yeah. And so now you're married. Did you meet your husband in Shanghai as well?
We were 1 year married when we came here.
I see. But you raised your kids in Shanghai, right?
Yes. So I in Shanghai became a mother. And then, of course, strengthened my marriage in Shanghai.
Okay. What were the kind of family routines and things that you did on your day-to-day life here with your family?
Yeah, we do nightly walks around Shanghai. I think it's we as a family like walking and talking. It's a way for us to, I guess, decompress from the day, from the good and the bad, and always good to kind of make future plans. And when we do that, we always try to take different routes in Shanghai. And we have like 3 or 4 main routes. One is Huahai Road to see like the latest stores where we walk. Then the other is going through Chenhuamiao and the Bund. And then the other is French Concession. We love to do that because then you get to see the city, get to check in with yourself, with your family, and and also like try to be healthy at the same time.
Yeah, it's a very walkable city, actually, especially I think compared to other cities in China too. Shanghai is very walkable, especially if you live downtown.
Right.
Like, you can like get anywhere pretty much. What's your favorite kind of place that you feel like, this is like every time you walk down the street, you're very happy? Do you have a favorite that sticks out for you or a certain spot? You
have obviously like prime locations like the Bund. You're always there and you're always like, how did I land here? Like you feel so privileged, so grateful and so surprised about skyline. But then I also feel a lot of pleasure in this Changlelu street and like this smaller street where the real life happens and with these cool stores and like cool cafes, but also you have the Kuaidi. So it's kind of like mix. I like these highs and lows. And then you can, rent the bikes. You can use it for 2 blocks. It's always easy. It's that's too spoiled.
Yes. And safe as well for family to walk around. What are your sort of passions and things that you like to do besides walking with your family and all this that people may or may not know about you?
I have definitely one big hobby and kind of sport is horse riding.
Okay, wow.
I love it since I was a small child. I do horse jumping, dressage, polo, ranch herding, everything that has to do with a horse. I'm very passionate.
So I don't know much about horseback riding. I've tried it like twice, maybe 3 times. So explain to me, and for people that are completely new, like what you just said about jumping, polo, ranching.
Yes.
Oh, so what is the difference? What is it like? What kind of horseback riding is this?
Jumping.
Yeah.
So you have like obstacles. And then they can even reach to up to 2 meters. So imagine like jumping to a horse up to 2 meters. Wow. That's like Olympic level, right?
Okay. So it's like the equestrian that we see in the Olympic kind of thing.
Yes.
And then they jump on this.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And you have like a circuit. Usually there's a circuit. So before you go into the horse, you kind of walk the circuit with your coach and then kind of calculate how fast or how slow the horse should go, so that you can reach to a certain speed to the obstacles.
Okay. So there's jumping, and then what else is there? You were saying
there's also dressage.
Okay.
Dressage is it's no jumping. On the contrary, it's more like, I would say, like dance. Like, how do you make the horse dance?
I see.
With different like steps and movements. So it's a very elegant,
Wow.
way to do it.
Wow. And then ranch?
Ranch herding.
Okay.
Yes.
It's like a cowboy.
Like a cowboy.
Oh, okay.
Exactly like a cowboy. That's, I would say, one of my favorite things.
That's super cool.
Yes.
So how do you do? Do you have to like with a lasso?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So you have like the herd, the cows, and then you usually have to separate the smaller ones, or the ones who are sick, or the ones who just be born.
Oh, wow.
And then sometimes you have to take them from one spot to another, where like if they have eaten all the grass, then you have to move them to the other side.
Wow. So do you get a chance to do this all in China while you're here, or?
No, not all of them. Absolutely. The ranching, we do it back home, in Bolivia.
Okay.
Polo, you can do it here. It's not super big, but you can also do it here. And, horse, jumping and dressage, also you can do it here. It's become more and more, popular.
Have you gone riding around China at all?
One of my nicest memories, doing like a trail in Inner Mongolia.
Oh, wow.
For like almost 4 days. It was a bit of like conquistadores kind of route in Inner Mongolia, like going through mountains and plain and like sleeping in the stars and
Holy smokes.
Going to, incredible places.
Is there something about horse riding that, has taught you about life, or your approach to business, or your approach to dealing with things? I'm sure it's not an easy undertaking to be with an animal.
True. I think how it really started, it was, my father was a really good horse rider.
Oh.
And I always took a lot of, pride and inspiration about him. When I started to take horse riding classes, after some time I fell off the horse. It was a bit of a naughty horse, and I was a bit too, again, green, and then I fell off. And he was like there, actually, that day he was there. So he was started to clap. He's like, great, you fall off. That's fantastic. I was like, what is going on? Like, shouldn't he be like a bit like seeing how am I feeling, or if I have something broken? But at the end, his point is like, every horse rider, the more you fail, the better you become. So I think, that kind of like over time has helped me to feel good with failing and falling, and that is actually expected. It's expected that you will fall, and like it's expected that you will pick yourself up, and no crying, no like feeling sorry about yourself, And he was like, go to the horse again. Like that was his mantra. Like
get
you
on the
fall,
horse again.
exactly. Like don't let the fear kind of consume you. Get as quick as possible. If you are okay, nothing broken, get yourself into the horse as soon as possible.
That's a good one. I'm going to remember that one for sure. Did you cry when you fell off the horse? Were you upset?
I didn't remember crying. Luckily, the horse was a kind of pony.
Yeah.
So I think what I felt, it was a bit ashamed, because like there were many other classmates there. So like, you're a young girl, and it's like, I fall. So I think it was a bit feeling ashamed, and then a bit in shock. Like you don't know what happened. But then, as I said, like it was a soft landing. I continued to fall into other horses, but not the same one.
So you're a parent. Your kids ride? Do your kids?
That's a good question. My daughter, she does. She started to do horse riding here in Shanghai.
Okay.
And my son doesn't do it. And I think as a policy, we don't force. If a person doesn't like it, you cannot force it. So he has other passions.
I see.
But I share that with my daughter. And also my husband, I managed to convert him into the horse love. So we are kind of a majority in the family.
That's good. That's terrific. So yourself, your husband, and your daughter all are into the horse riding.
Mm-hmm.
How old's your daughter?
She's 10 years old.
Okay, so 10 years old. And how long has she been riding for then?
I would say like 6 years. So she started when she was 4 or 5.
You can start that early.
Yeah, you can start that early. you can start that early. I think even before, but of course, then I think she didn't really understood. I think if you're like living in a farm and like surrounded by that, then you can start even earlier.
I remember the first time I saw a horse in Shanghai, I was very surprised that they had in the city, like you could go in Pudong and there's like these small riding kind of areas that you could learn. And then the first time I rode was in Moganshan at the Naked Stables when they opened. And that was just, it's not riding. They take you around and you kind of figure it out. And I've ridden in Inner Mongolia as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept saying like, oh, the way we ride is different than like the saddle is higher or something like this. I didn't quite understand. And I also fell off the horse as well. But yeah, it's really surprising to me that you could do these kind of activities here in such a big mega city.
I think even here, I heard there's even like a shopping mall and then they have horses in one of the floors. I don't know how they kind of leave the horses there.
I mean, you're moving on from China. Looking back, what kind of like things or advice would you give to yourself or new people that are coming about how to thrive, how to have a life here, how to get the most out of time in China?
If I reflect back and like I will kind of do this again, be curious. Don't be afraid. On the contrary, like be excited, be naive, be foolish. Try to talk to people, maybe give yourself a KPI of talking to 3 new people every day for whatever walk of life. It doesn't matter. Try to understand, try to practice your Chinese depending on your situation. But I will say also be curious about the culture. My biggest takeaway is that, of course, language and culture are very intertwined in China. But be very mindful of what's not being said, because that's when like the cultural cues come in. Try all the fantastic food. I think in my almost 20 years, I don't think we have finished to try all the Chinese food. We were talking the other day, it's like, what are we going to do when we have Chinese cravings? We're already worrying about it when we are, in our new location.
Do you remember any crazy Chinese food that you have tried that it was like
yes.
most craziest?
Yes. And I have to say publicly, I don't like the stinky tofu. That's my no.
Okay. So your borderline is the stinky tofu.
Yes.
It's a little bit like cheese, like stinky cheese. Do you do stinky cheese?
Like the blue cheese. I think that's a taste that you have to kind of develop over time.
Oh.
And didn't manage to do that.
I have a funny one for you. So one time I was at a business dinner and they have the big menus with photos.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, great, photos, beautiful, right? So you're looking through the photos, business dinner, they come to order. I just randomly like pick what looks good and then the food comes. We're talking business and there's this one dish, it arrives and nobody's eating it. And I was quite new to China at the time. I'm like, what is this? And nobody would say anything. And then I asked the waitress, I said, hey, what is this dish? And it's like this beautifully arranged, ornate, all kinds of like meat flowers, all arranged. I asked the waitress, I was like, what is this? What kind of meat is this? She's like, well, you ordered it. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to know what it is. Nobody's eating it. Well, how come? And then she starts laughing, So long story short, it was a mixed variety of male organs for all animals. We had deer, bull, the whole thing, like every single like assorted
a buffet
of male meat flowers is there the whole plate. And I was like, okay, I ordered it. They're like, aren't you going to try it? They're like, I tried. That was it. That was the first and last time for me. So it can be quite an adventure. Everybody laughed about it. And I was the new guy that didn't know anything and ordered a dish. That was, that was really funny.
And that's also good, like why to make new friends, because then you can always try to get to try new things. Otherwise, if you always go yourself, maybe you always do like the things that feel safe.
Yes. And then you were saying about having Chinese go a long way, like just a little bit of Chinese go a long way. My Chinese improved significantly now. I remember, like, if you just say a few things, they're like, where are you from? And you talk. And everybody's very, very open. And you can have a lot of conversations with people and they're very happy.
all my time here, I always took classes. The last years, I feel like now I really have to, like, I want to make like a big push. And even I went like, I think 1 week, isolate myself in a small town, to be like only immersed in Chinese. I think it was like maybe morning classes. And then in the afternoon, you have like companionships, kind of coming. And then that's also how I learned to play Majong in a small town for, learning Chinese. It was very fun. It was a really good memory.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Did you get very good?
Yeah, I even have a Majong table, but it will not fit in the container. I'm giving it to a friend.
That's a terrific skill to have, right? Because if you know, and then people find out that you know, it's like instant friends.
Yes.
Right away. I have a funny Mahjong story I share with you real quick. It was right after the Chengdu earthquake. Remember the big Chengdu earthquake?
Yes.
And the company I was working for at that time, we like tried to help build temporary houses. And I was there shooting these temporary houses. And, you know, people were there and they'd lost their homes in Chengdu. You know, like it's just total rubble and these tents and these temporary houses. And at night, everybody that was there playing Mahjong on the street. I was like, what's going on? It's like, wow, nothing to do. We play Mahjong. I was like, wow, you guys are so cool. You know, wow.
Did you learn?
Yes.
That was like your mentor.
Yeah, I learned. I think I lost a lot of money over the few weeks, but it's fine. I felt it was like I was donating, you know. They taught me. They taught me well.
And then you probably like find out that there are so many different Mahjong types, right?
Yes. I'm not totally clear on them all. I know the basics of the game, and wow, you learned Mahjong in a small town. I mean, this is like is a really good cultural experience. You mentioned something about what's being said and what's not being said, and this kind of like communication difference. And I think European cultures, right? People talk, and usually what they say what they mean. Mm-hmm. Or there's a lot of arguing, but the arguing is part of how you get to an answer. For Chinese, it depends on the situation that you're in. Mm. People say things and they could maybe mean it, and they could maybe, you know, like, oh, let's have dinner together. Does it mean we have dinner? Or, yeah, you know, I'll call you next week. Does that mean I'll call you? You know, from your experience, can you compare and contrast or go into a little bit detail about some of the things not said or some of the nuances that you've learned to adapt to?
Chinese culture is very polite. It's very polite, very respectful. So I think there's a kind of harmony feeling. There's no need to kind of destroy that harmony. In order to find out, you know, results versus harmony, sometimes things are not said. And that's why I think building trust is very important, because then when you have the trust, you can understand, or you can ask in different type of settings, what does it really mean? And it can give you more clarity for yourself, especially when it comes to leading bigger teams, or you have a big task to accomplish. Then how do you have the team with you? And it really starts with trust and that clarity.
And do you have any tips or kind of ways that you found that are helpful to build trust with people here in China?
Food, going for lunch or dinner. Food is always a good way to bond with people, especially here. I think that's also a way to kind of soften up and really try to, to get to know each other. I felt that it's been appreciated. Then I think being honest always works with colleagues here. If you want to find things that are happening, maybe like don't ask in front of everyone. Maybe try to have like safety environment to ask and get answers from colleagues. And also some of the discussions don't happen really in the meeting. They happen outside the meeting. So try to be connected. It's a lot of guanxi that is sometimes more important than the task in itself.
Terrific. One last question.
For sure.
Last dinner, last meal in China. What is it going to be?
Oh, yes. It's going to be Hongsha Road, the best Hongsha Road.
Hongsha Road. So that's the red braised meat?
Yes.
Like the fatty pork belly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. With a big chunk of rice and some green veggies. And We had already our Beijing duck in Dadong last weekend, so I think that's done. Now we have to do the Hongsha Road.
Fantastic. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.